Hi, Archie.
Hello.
How are you today?
Good.
I will go ahead and share my screen with you. Okay, there it is. So yesterday we finished by talking about the Christmas night that just came in to the castle. Kind of left us at a very exciting part. So this chapter is called Who Will Go? Well, that's a very interesting title for a chapter. It asks a question. Well, when we see a question, we want to think of the answer. Who will go? Who will go where? So they will be picking some people to go someplace. So I'm very curious with this chapter, who is going and where are they going? So the Christmas night says, I have come to see Arthur the King, the Christmas night said. His deep voice echoed from inside his helmet. I don't know what that would sound like to have a voice echoing inside a helmet. His red armor.
I have come to see Arthur the King, King.
Oh, that would be the echo. That's right. His red armor gleamed in the firelight. That means his armor is shiny. And so the light from the torch is kind of making it flash on the shininess of his armor. King Arthur stood up. He stared fiercely at the knight. Fiercely is almost in a way that's scary, like not a friendly way. But he spoke in a calm, steady voice. I am Arthur the King, he said. Who are you? The knight did not answer Arthur's question. So he did not tell him who he was. He said, so you are the legendary King Arthur of Camelot. Legendary means from the legend. Okay, so you are famous. He said in a mocking voice. Well, mocking, this word here is important because it is telling us how the knight is speaking. Mocking is not speaking in a nice way. Mocking is speaking in a way that is making fun of another person. Back when we were reading Geronimo Stilton, Hero Mice, and we were talking about his partner and friend Swiftpaws, and the author would use these words to tell us how Swiftpaws was talking. And I remember they all started with SN. And what these, so we have sneered, snickered, and snorted. And what they all have in common is they are a way of saying the word said when the person who's talking is talking in a way that is making fun of or laughing at the person they are talking to. And that's kind of, you could say sneered, snickered, and snorted would be talking with a mocking voice. So the sound of your voice tells the person that's listening to you that they are kind of making fun of you. So they are not being respectful. And then he says, and these must be the famous knights of the Round Table. Now, if he is mocking King Arthur, I, the reader, am already thinking, oh, I'm not going to like him. That's what I'm thinking, just from this one word, mocking. So let's take a look here at our picture. We can see in this picture that, they talked about the horse having armor. Yeah, I guess I can see it. This part right here that's covering the horse's head, that would be armor. But this part right here, that's not armor. That is just fabric. It's material, what I would see in a parade. But this knight on a horse is making, we say he's making quite an entrance. He's coming in with the loud noise of the hoofbeats of the horse. He bangs open the doors. The cold wind rushes in with him. The torchlight flickers and the shadows dance. And he makes his announcement. And his announcement is one where he's kind of making fun of the king. But the king just says, "Yes," said King Arthur. "And again I ask, who are you?" And this time the way he asks it, because we see the italics around you, he says, "Who are you?" He really wants that question answered, but still the Christmas knight did not answer Arthur's question. So the Christmas knight says, "The spell of the dark wizard has robbed Camelot of its joy," said the Christmas knight. "Has it robbed you and your men of your courage as well?" So we have learned that, I don't know what color to use here. This is sort of the problem we have found in the story so far. Okay, that the dark wizard has put a spell on Camelot that robbed it of its joy, that stole or took its joy. But the Christmas knight is now saying, has it also taken away your courage? He's accusing the king and the knights of not having courage. That is not a kind thing to say. That's not respectful. And the king says, "You dare to question our courage?" So now he's angry. He said in a low, angry voice, "You dare, you have the nerve. I can't believe you said that. You dare to question our courage. You are accusing us of not having courage, of not being brave, of sitting here in fear and being afraid." He's angry that the knight said that. And then the Christmas knight said, "Camelot is dying." And you see these capital letters? The author will use capital letters when the author wants you to say it in a louder voice, like someone is yelling. And here this word boomed, that means he's yelling, like thunder can boom in the sky. It's like, "Camelot is dying," the Christmas knight boomed. "Why has no one journeyed to the other world to recapture its joy?" When we see this let's look at the word recapture. That has two parts. So re is the prefix, and the prefix re means again, to do it again. Capture is to take something that doesn't belong to you. So the spell that was put on Camelot captured its joy. It took its joy away from Camelot, and almost like it's a thing that it's taking, which is kind of interesting because joy is not a thing we can hold in our hand. But they're talking about joy almost like it is a thing that they just took out of Camelot to this place called the other world. And they want these brave knights to go to the other world on a quest, find that thing, that joy that got stolen, and recapture it, which means capture it again so they can bring it back. And then the king said to him, "I have sent my best knights on such a quest," said King Arthur. "They never returned." And so then what does the Christmas knight say? He says, "Then send more," thundered the Christmas knight. Thunder and boom, see how they're kind of go together. There's a storm outside and it's thundering. You can hear the thunder go boom, boom, boom. So this is telling us that he's yelling. He has a very loud voice. Thundered the Christmas knight. "No!" So capital letters, and he's shouting. "No!" shouted King Arthur, pounding his fists on the table. "Never again!" And so here he's going to use these two words. This is important. right? He's saying, never again will I feed good men to the magic and monsters of the other world. So we don't know what the other world looks like. We haven't been there. Okay, they have just mentioned it. They mentioned it as that place that they think the world is flat, and that if they're walking across to the edge of the world and then you fall off, and where you fall off, you land in the other world. And they're saying that is the place where magic is made, where magic begins. And the king is like, that place, the other world, has magic and monsters. This is the first we've heard of monsters. And the king does not want to lose any more of his knights to that place. Because remember, he sent 3 already, including Sir Lancelot, and they have not come back. So Jack, he hears the word monsters too. It says, Jack felt a chill of fear. It's like a shiver, like, you could say a shiver ran down my spine. Like, he says, what monsters? And then the Christmas night says, then you choose your fate. We're going to talk about this word in just a minute because that's a hard word. Said the Christmas night, if you will send no one else to the other world, all that your kingdom has gained through time, all beauty, music, wonder, and light, all that Camelot has ever been or could ever be, will be lost and forgotten forever. Dun, 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 dun. That's quite a statement. This is kind of a big deal paragraph. Now, we don't know yet who the Christmas knight is, and we don't know why he can talk to King Arthur this way, but we do know that he is trying to get King Arthur to have some courage and try again. If he really wants King Arthur to send more knights to get the joy back, then maybe this Christmas night does care about Camelot. Maybe he wants Camelot to get back its beauty and its music and its wonder and its light. Maybe he wants Camelot to get the joy back and to once again be the wonderful place that it was, where everyone was happy. Because right now, no one's happy. Right now, nothing's happening. And King Arthur doesn't seem like he's going to do anything. And everyone has no hope, right? Morgan had said, this will be your last trip in the magic tree house. We will
No, that is not.
Oh, can you remind me what it said?
What is that?
What did Morgan say about?
Oh, I know.
I think it was on the bottom of slide 15. See here, she says,
I'm afraid this will be your last journey and last time we see each other. No, it's not last time.
well, but we don't know what happens in the future yet, because this is where we're at in the book. And so what they know, this is what they know at this point. So where are we here? I think we're on this page. So let's look at this word fate for a minute. Fate is, not everybody believes in fate. Fate is this idea that you cannot control what's going to happen to you in your future. Fate is talking about what's going to happen to you in your future. And some people believe you can't change your fate, and some people believe you can change your fate. Okay, so the idea of fate is what's going to happen next in your life, what's going to happen in your future that hasn't happened yet. If someone thinks that you cannot change your fate, then they're really thinking about the word destiny. So when someone talks about this is your destiny, destiny would be this is what's going to happen in your future and there's nothing you can do about it. So that would not, you really would not have hope. If you don't want that destiny, and if you feel there's nothing you can do to change it, then you really would not have any reason to feel hope. So I don't really like that idea. I think it's very good to have hope all the time. And I think it's good for us to believe that we can change our future. I don't want to sit here and think that I know exactly what's going to happen to me in the future and there's nothing I can do to change it. I want to believe that by the choices I make and by having a positive attitude and by perseverance and having goals and working hard, that I can make my future even better, that I can change, that I can have an effect on what happens in my future. So, but the word fate almost does not come with a feeling of hope. Fate is talking about kind of, there's nothing you can do about this, you know, this is what's going to happen to your future. So this idea of choose your fate, okay? I like this word choose, because choose means we have a choice. And when we have a choice, that gives us a feeling of freedom, of power over our life, right? A reason for us to have hope. So if you are choosing your fate, that means you realize the choices you make right now can affect what happens to you in the future. So he's saying, if you choose to send no more people, if you choose to give up, if you choose to do nothing, then this is what your fate will be. This is what your future will be. Your future will be that everything your kingdom ever was, with all of its beauty and music and wonder and light, everything it ever was, everything it ever could be, will be lost and forgotten forever. That's horrible. So he's saying, so don't choose that. Don't choose to do nothing. Don't choose to give up. You want to choose to try again, to persevere, to have hope, to not give up. He wants them to choose to have courage. Well, Annie and Jack, they have a lot of courage, and they do not want Camelot to be lost and forgotten forever, left with no more beauty or music or wonder or light. So Annie shouts, "No!" shouted Annie. "Shh, Annie," said Jack. Annie might have just a little more courage than Jack. The Christmas night turned to the knights at the table. "Who will go?" he boomed. "We will," shouted Annie. "We will," said Jack. "Yes, we will go on the quest," Annie yelled. She jumped up, right? Isn't she like 7 years old?
No.
"No!" cried Morgan Le Fay.
Annie is like just 30 years old.
Well, I know in the other Magic Treehouse books, she's only 7 and Jack is 8. Right? Is it 7 and 8 or 8 and 9? So she's a kid. And she says, "We will." And Jack says, "We will?" "Yes, we will go." "No," cried Morgan Le Fay. "Never," said King Arthur. "Annie," said Jack. He leaped up from his chair and tried to grab her. "Yes," thundered the Christmas knight. He pointed his red gloved hand at Annie and Jack. "The youngest of all, these two, they will go." "You are mocking us," King Arthur shouted.
They will go,
boomed the knight. His words echoed throughout the hall. "Oh no," thought Jack. "Yes," said Annie. She pulled Jack toward the Christmas knight. King Arthur turned to his men. "Stop them!" Why doesn't King Arthur want them to go?
because they are the youngest.
And why else?
They will help them to find the joy.
Well, that would be a good thing. So why does he not want them to go? What's he
Because
afraid of?
Because they help him last time in Morgan's library.
Right, and so he really values them. They mean a lot to him. He does not want to lose them. They are very special to him. And what is he worried about might happen to them if they leave? What happened to the other 3 people that left? Did they come back?
No.
No, and I think he's worried that if Jack and Annie leave, he might lose them forever too. And they are very special to him. He does not want to lose them. So it makes him feel a little scared that if they leave, then maybe they won't come back. So he doesn't want them to go. And he says, stop them. The Christmas knight raised his gloved hand high in the air. In an instant, the room fell deathly quiet. Everyone around the table was as still as a statue. You know, how he just raised his hand and then all of a sudden there's no sound and no one's moving. Does that seem a little bit like magic to you?
Yes.
Right? Everyone's trying to stop Annie and Jack from going, and then he just raises his hand and no sound, no movement. Everyone is like frozen like a statue. In fact, we can see a simile here. Do you see this? The as, still as. So here's our adjective. Still means no, nothing's moving. Everything's like frozen. King Arthur looked like the statue of a furious king. Queen Guinevere looked like the statue of a worried queen. The knights of the round table looked like statues of fierce knights. I wonder if they really are statues now. You never know when there's magic going on, if they really turned into statues or if they just stopped moving. And Morgan Le Fay looked like the statue of a caring friend. Her mouth was open as if she were calling out to Jack and Annie, but no sound came from her lips, no sound at all. Yeah, I think that Christmas night did some sort of magic, and that when he raised his hand, I think everyone did kind of turn into a statue, at least. I don't think they will be a statue forever, but I think right now they're like, everyone is like a statue except for Jack and Annie and the Christmas night. What do you think? Morgan Le Fay is a statue of a caring friend. King Arthur is the statue of a furious king. Queen Guinevere is a worried queen. And the knights are looking fierce. Okay, chapter 5, rhymes of the Christmas night. You know what a rhyme is? Like cat, hat, bat, sat, mat. Those would be rhyming words. It's when the middle and end of the word, the sound stays the same, and only the sound at the beginning of the word changes. Morgan, said Annie. Annie ran to the table. She touched Morgan's cheek, then quickly pulled back her hand. She's cold. She's as cold as ice. Here's another simile. Do you see it? As cold as ice. So the adjective is cold. How cold? As cold as ice, said Annie. Tears filled her eyes. Annie turned to the Christmas night in a fury. In a fury means she is very angry. What did you do to Morgan? She asked. Bring her back. Do not fear, said the Christmas night. His voice was softer and kinder. Well, that's good, because before, when he was talking to King Arthur, he was yelling. His voice was booming and thundering, but now his voice is softer and kinder. He says, she will come back to life after you complete your quest. So he did do some kind of magic, and everyone who was sitting at the round table, the king and the queen and the knights and Morgan, have frozen. They're cold. Maybe they're like frozen statues. So they are cold to touch. Their mouth is left open. They can't move. They can't speak. They're going to have to just wait. And meanwhile, Jack and Annie are going to go on a quest. And Jack says, "What? What exactly is our quest?" said Jack. "Here it comes. You must journey to the other world," said the Christmas knight. "There you will find a cauldron." Do you know what a cauldron is? I'll show you a picture of one tomorrow. A cauldron is like a big pot that can be used for cooking. In fantasy stories, if there is a wizard or a witch, they often have that person making their magic spells, making a brew in a big pot that they're stirring. And that pot is often called a cauldron. So they need to look for this cauldron. He says the cauldron is filled with the water of memory and imagination. You must bring a cup of the water back to Camelot. If you fail, Camelot will never come back to life. Never. How do we do all that?" asked Annie, wiping her eyes. "Remember these 3 rhymes," said the Christmas knight. All right, we're going to be stopping there, but before we do that, I want you to notice right here we have a capital W, capital M, and capital I. That means it's the name of something. We use capitals in the middle of a sentence for the name of something, but we don't have to use capital letters for little words like of and. So water of memory and imagination. That's the name of what is in the cauldron. They need to get a cup of it and they need to bring that back to Camelot. And if they don't, if they fail in their quest, then Camelot will never come back to life, never. So I would say this paragraph right here is a pretty important paragraph. It's telling them what their quest is. Okay, so here's the word quest. They need to complete their quest. And so tomorrow we're going to be looking at 3 rhymes that will help them to be successful in their quest.
In the next page.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and make our star.
Blue.
Blue, like this?
Yes.
All righty. So I will hit the stop share and say, so long.
Long to the chip.
Yep. Bye, Archie.